Duncan Keith, what's going on with Duncan Keith? Is he going to be here?
He's in quarantine. I think he comes out next Friday. So he'll be here next Friday.
So I guess the question would be, he said all summer to get the vaccination. I assume is he vaxxed? Why is he away? What can you tell us, and why did it take so long?
Why he's away? He's in quarantine. He'll be here next Friday. I think as we've gone through the world, obviously making the decision for some people is easy and for some people is difficult. So I'm happy that he's going to be part of our team this year, fully vaccinated.
What can you tell us about Alex Staylock? Is he going to be here?
Alex Staylock, he had COVID before the 56-game season, I think last year in January, and obviously missed part, and then he was cleared. He came, obviously was with us all year on the taxi squad. At the end of the year, we did a physical, then he went home. He wanted to have additional tests, and through these additional tests, he found out that he maybe has some kind of a heart condition. He's seen a couple of cardiologists. He's looking to get additional opinions. I would say to you right now that based upon where we're at today, I don't anticipate that he'll play hockey this year, but if he does get further opinions, it might change his decision. I talked to his agent yesterday, Ben Hankinson. I've talked to Alex a couple of times in the last week. I know he was ready to, he called me about 2 weeks ago. He was all excited about coming to camp and pushing for a job, and then over the last 2 weeks has got some opinions different than the opinions that he had previously, so he's looking for additional information before he decides to play.
Does this mean then that you can look for another older goaltender as opposed to leave Skinner where he is in the minors? If
not really. Obviously you've got Skinner played really good last year. He's 23 years of age. I thought obviously Konovalov has played, we signed him, turned him pro. He's played, in the KHL, it's a men's league. I thought he played really good the other night in the rookie game. So as we speak today, no, I'm not looking to do anything. Maybe a week or two. I don't know, but things might change, but right now, no.
Ken, over on the other side, bigger picture question, and then I'll get to some hockey. We all know the public health situation in Alberta right now. What's the organization doing in terms of dealing with Alberta Health to just ensure that as the situation evolves, the plans you have in place for opening the building and having fans and everything is all up to date and remains safe?
Oh, Ryan, obviously, our organization works really closely with the Alberta government and the Alberta health officials, the local health officials. Obviously, extra close, I guess, we hosted the bubble a year ago and obviously made the decision to have the bubble here. So, it's a decision that's made, with the government, with the health officials, also with our team. Made a decision that anybody that comes to our rink must be fully vaccinated, or if you're not vaccinated, you must have a negative COVID test within 72 hours of the game. When you're in the game or at the rink, when the game's going on, it's mandatory to wear masks. The only time you can take the mask off, obviously, is to eat or drink. So I think obviously the feeling is that we're being as conservative as we possibly can, and in conjunction with a lot of different, governments and health officials.
Quick follow-up on that, if I can. As the situation evolves in Alberta, do you have any indication that the standards for being inside this building will change moving forward as the situation evolves, or you feel like this will be the setup moving forward?
Well, I'm only one part of the, certainly myself, Bob Nicholson, Dr. Naidu, who obviously works very closely with, being the doctor. I know he's also involved, he's with the NHL doctors. I know he talks on a regular basis to the NFL doctors. So there's lots of people that would be involved, government, health officials. So there's lots of people. So I really don't have an answer for you. I think as you go, nobody really knows where, what it's going to look like a month from now. I mean, I think everybody hoping it's going to get better, but certainly it's something that you monitor on a regular basis and make decisions accordingly.
Okay, quick hockey question, if I may. On Zach Hyman, of all of the qualities that he brings, when you evaluate your team from last year, which of those qualities do you think your lineup is most needing an injection of that he'll bring?
Ryan, when I said this to the players this morning, when the season was over last year, and I've done it for 20 years, I have exit meetings with all the players, individual meetings with all the players, and I would say that, the younger players, it's my opportunity to, give them some direction as to what I think they need to do over the summertime to come in and develop as players and where they sit. And, when I meet with the core group, the leaders, the veteran guys have been around the team, it's their opportunity to tell me, the managers, we're heading into the off season, things that they think that we need to make our team better. And then I go from there and I sit with my scouts and my top people and the head coach and go through the same process. And I would say to you, Zach, bring it to Zach Hyman. We wanted to I think he brings lots of things. Number one, he's a top 6 NHL forward, so we're deeper. You're adding another NHL forward, top 6, top 9 for sure. Obviously in Toronto, he went up and down the roster. He can play left wing, he can play right wing. Loves to get in on the forecheck. He's going to bring a forecheck dimension. Works extremely hard, 200 feet, so you're going to have a 200-foot player. Likes to go to the blue paint. You need people to go to the blue paint. So I think he's going to bring lots of different dimensions, versatility, depth to try to make us a better, bigger, deeper team up front.
Again, just a quick question. I just want to follow up on Duncan. Was he not skating with the captain's group? And how come he has to go into quarantine now when he was able to skate with the team last week?
Yeah, he was here. I would say, like I said earlier, to get vaccinated obviously has been a personal decision. I mean, and it's been an easy decision for some, and it's been a difficult decision for some. It was a difficult decision for Duncan. But ultimately, as he weighed all the information, and I think, if you look, and I don't know the numbers because I'm just a general manager, but I think if you look in July, I heard talk that there was, 80, 90 NHL players not vaccinated in the summertime. I believe that's true. I believe that's true. Bill Daly, we had a Board of Governor meeting yesterday, which I was on, and Bill Daly said that, it's going to be single-digit players that are unvaccinated as we head into the season. So basically, Duncan would be in that 70, 80, 90 players that it was a difficult decision for him, and eventually made the decision to get vaccinated. So he's now in quarantine. He'll be here next Friday. I'm personally, happy that he made the decision to get quarantined so that he could be, if you're unvaccinated, you can still be part of the team, but certainly I know it was a difficult decision. I spent lots of time with him last week. I know that he talked to lots of people. I know he talked to his teammates and eventually made the decision to get vaccinated. So he's in quarantine. Again, he'll be here next week.
And will your team be 100% vaccinated, or there's still guys that may not be vaccinated?
The team?
Yeah, your team.
As we speak today, when the season starts, I would anticipate that we'll have one player that's unvaccinated. Talked to him a few times. Not sure where he's at. I got to talk to him here in the next day or so. But I would anticipate that possibly one player would be unvaccinated.
Now, I guess the question a lot of people have is that every other employee that works for the Oilers has to be double vaccinated, but the players don't. I guess, is that just the way it works with the?
Well, I mean, certainly there's the NHL and the NHLPA. Obviously, have talked about this. I know that there's, I'm reading, there's a team or two out there that have made a decision that unvaccinated players are not welcome at training camp. I have not made that decision as of this time, because I think that I think the player is going through a process to decide, because it's a difficult decision. So I want to give the person the appropriate time. I'll see where I'm at a week from now or 10 days from now, but we'll see.
And just one last follow-up. If a player is not vaccinated and you go to the States, he has to come back in quarantine then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to make it very difficult.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ken, just a quick one. I'm just a sports writer, so help me understand this. The guy that got his vaccination recently can't come to camp because he's under quarantine. But a guy who's not vaccinated at all can come to camp and skate with the team.
That's correct.
How does that work? Why don't I get that?
I'm not sure why you don't get that.
What?
You have to look in the mirror. I can't think for you.
How does it, like, that doesn't make sense, right? Does it make sense to you? And why does it doesn't make sense to me? If the unvaccinated guy is...
But it's going to... Well, I'm going to answer the question. It's going to flip in a month, right? A month from now, the vaccinated player is going to have the freedom to cross the border, the freedom to leave his hotel room on the road. The other person isn't going to have that. So I guess on the short term, you're looking at the short term. You can look at the short term or the long term. Short term, the vaccinated player is in quarantine. On the long term, the vaccinated player is going to have the freedom, and the unvaccinated player will not have the freedom.
Go ahead.
I didn't make the rules. I'm not a health official. I'm just telling you what the government's decided and what the rules are and what the NHL and the NHLPA have decided. And I just know it's a difficult, certainly for, it's a difficult decision for lots of people. Some it was an easy decision. My wife and I couldn't wait to get in there in March, and when they went to the 60-year-olds and get vaccinated, but it's not an easy decision for everybody.
Ken, can you you have two young right-wingers in Jesse and Yamamoto. Do you see both of them as interchangeable in terms of moving up and down the lineup, or is Jesse a little further ahead because he had a better year last year than Yamamoto?
I think the answer to that question is, the good news is we're probably deeper, Jim. There's more competition. There's more options. Obviously, I've been here for 2 years, and our offense has been pretty good, but it's a relatively few people. Obviously it's Connor and Leon and a couple other people, and then with Yamo and with the addition of Hyman and the addition of Fogel and the development of Jesse, re-signing Nuge. I'd like to think that we've got, we're deeper. Now, where do they all fit? That's now up to the coaching staff and preseason, and to try to piece it all together to see where they all fit. But certainly part of the offseason goal was to try to get deeper up front, so we got a little more secondary scoring. Where they all fit? Is Yamo on right wing? Is he on left wing? Is he on the first line, the second line, the third line, or the fourth line? Where does Jesse fit? Where does Zach Cassian fit? Is Hyman a right winger? Is Hyman a left winger? Is Fogel on? That's up to the coaching staff. I'm going to be in there on an everyday basis, I guess, talking to Tip, giving him my opinion, but ultimately he has to make the final decision as to see where they all fit. But I think we're going to have better competition. If you get injuries, we're going to have more depth. He can move people around the lineup, and hopefully it's going to make us a better hockey team.
Hi, Ken. I'm just wondering, Duncan Keith's a veteran player who's been through a lot of training camps, but given that you just acquired him, is there any level of concern, disappointment? What are your thoughts, I guess, on him being, just over a week ago? I
have no concerns. I expressed that to him. I totally support him. What I wish that he made the decision 2 months ago, and we weren't going through this, No, but I respect it was a very, very difficult decision. He was here last week. He obviously couldn't be part of it. He was on a different room, so he skated a different time on a different rink. So he and I talked. You know, I've known Duncan, you know, was obviously with them in the Olympic team. He went to Michigan State. My daughters went to Michigan State at the same time. Bill Scott he was one of my assistant general managers, was the, student manager, I think. So I've got somewhat of a relationship with Duncan. We spent lots of days in that room, one-on-one talking. And I know it was a very, very difficult decision for him to make, but ultimately he made the decision to get vaccinated. I think he's one of those players that I don't know that he skates a whole lot in the summertime. I think he does. I know he's in the gym every day. He watches what he eats. But I had veteran players in Detroit that didn't like to skate. Dominic Hasek didn't skate much until training camp started. So some guys like to skate all summer. Some guys just like to skate at the start of training camp. So ideally, would we like to have him out there? Yeah, I wish it was a perfect world. It's not a perfect world. There are no perfect people. There are no perfect decisions. I'm happy that he made the decision. I support the decision and look forward to seeing him here next, I think, Friday to be part of the group. You know, he's gonna be able to play the last, I think he comes Friday. I think we play a game on Saturday, and then there's still 3 games that last week, like Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. So certainly he can play the last 3 preseason games. We don't start till a Wednesday, so it's gonna be almost 2 weeks, 2 days short of 2 weeks that he's gonna be able to skate every day. So I have no concerns that he won't be ready to go.
Now, you mentioned, in addition to the situation with Duncan Keith, there could be one other possible non-vaccinated player. Aside from the health, from the hockey perspective, how does that change, team dynamics, or how, meetings? Because there's a lot of restrictions on the player. If he. It's
going to be very difficult. Tip and I met with him Monday. I kind of looked through our schedule. How many times we crossed the border. It's going to be very difficult.
And lastly, for me, in addition to Keith, Cody Ceci, you really altered. Evan Bouchard now is going to be a full-timer you've really altered the defense. What do you make of that group heading into the season with about half the guys being potentially new?
Well, I would say to you, it's obviously a little more established group. Obviously the players that I traded away, Caleb Jones and Ethan Bear, what were they, 23-ish? They were younger players. Re-signing Tyson Barrie, who's 29. I think Cece's 28. Duncan Keith's obviously 37. So it's a more experienced, established group of defensemen. Obviously, we got Bush there as a young guy on the team, 22. But I would say it's probably a more established, experienced group of defensemen. Any more questions? Are you all good?
Last question.
Okay.
Quick one. You said you went through the math of how many games the player would have to miss if he played on your team for 82 games. What is that number?
I would say to you, based upon my math, it would probably be around 30 plus.
So the quarantine coming back over the border is how many days, Ken?
14.
Your world, 14.
And then after you're in quarantine for 14 days, are you ready to play the 15th day, or do you have to miss a game? Because, if we're playing good, I don't think you're just going to take somebody out to put that person in. So it's going to be very difficult. Jim?
Just have one question about Koskinen. He's taken a lot of heat over the summer because the fans and media as well, and everybody seems to think he didn't play well. You should have gone and got another goaltender. You're bringing back the same guys. Are you concerned does he have the makeup to? He doesn't have Mike Smith's makeup where he's I'll show you guys. Koskinen is much quieter, a different sort of goaltender. Are you worried about that at all?
Well, obviously I'm not to the degree that, or else I would have probably tried to been more aggressive and done something. I mean, 2 years ago, Koski, I think he had a .917 saves percentage, over the season, which is, it's above league average. I think, I think with Koski last year, I think he played in the first 12 games. I think he played 11 of the games. So with no preseason games. Again, he came out of quarantine, I think, in time just for day one of training camp. He had like 8 days, no preseason games, and all of a sudden he played 11 out of 12 games. I think he played lots of good games, and then the odd game, not so good. And when you have 2 or 3 games that are not so good in a short period, your statistics don't look very good. And then, when Smitty came back, I think Smitty played like 33 or 34 of the last 45 or 46. So Smitty really ran the table, and Koski went in there and played every 4th or 5th game. I thought he did a good job. I remember one night in Ottawa, he was first star. We didn't deserve to win. He was first star, he stole the game for us. So, Koski's got the ability to steal games. Certainly, I think he understands he needs to be more consistent, but I also think this year with 8 preseason games, and, I think him and Smitty are going to get 2 to 3 games each. We're going to try to get Skinner a game or 2, maybe Konovalov a game. A full 3-week, 21-day training camp. I think that I expect that our guys will be more prepared, more ready to go. I think last year was a difficult season, especially for goalies. And again, for Koski, he wanted to be at home with his family as much as he could. He knew when he come here, his family wasn't going to come here, so he came on the day that he came out of quarantine, the first day of training camp. But again, I think he had 8 days, no preseason games, and he played out 11 out of 12 games. So I think there's going to be he'll have an opportunity to be more prepared.
Ken, I think the questions on Terry Jones, Post Media.
Can you describe this training camp and how you're going to approach it in terms of a lot of your guys last year, your development players didn't get the normal full meal deal, training camp, games and all that. How important is it to get that full group a lot of that training camp experience this year, and how will that play with everybody else?
You're talking the younger people or the entire group, Terry?
The development people, but that includes some of the people.
Okay. Well, first off, on defense, obviously we've talked about Duncan Keith. Chris Russell won't be on the ice for the first few days of training camp. In the last couple of weeks, he's got some neck pains, and we want to be conservative. So, Dmitry Samorukov broke his jaw the first rookie game, so there's no Samorukov in the early preseason games. I don't anticipate Chris Russell. We won't have Duncan Keith. So there's going to be lots of opportunity for Lagesson, Bouchard, Broberg, Kesselring, Kemp. They're gonna get lots of time to play preseason games to show what they can do. Up front, obviously, I think some kids are going to get some time, but I think the coaching staff's going to want to figure out line combinations. To Jim Matheson's question earlier, I think it's going to be, Tip's going to need the 8 games to kind of figure out line combinations and who's playing with who. So I don't know there's going to be as much opportunity up front for young forwards. And in goal, certainly we're planning to play Skinner and Konovalov a game and a half, or maybe 2 for Skinner. So I'm happy we've got 8 preseason games, which is the max. Gives us an opportunity to play some of our young players. And then again, like I said, I think on defense, the last 3 preseason games, I think will be closer to the defense that we're going to have in the regular season. But the first 4 or 5 preseason games, lots of opportunity for the young defensemen to play.
Morning, Ken.
Morning.
About Tyler, I guess a 2-part question. Brandon Perlini and then Colton Sevier, and where do you see those 2 guys? How different do you think Perlini is after a year in Europe?
Well, I'm looking for, I think there's going to be a competition down there. Obviously, Tyler Benson, Perlini, Colton Sevier, we've invited in on a tryout. He's been around the NHL. When Holloway, when the decision was made that Holloway needed to have a new surgery done on his scaphoid. He's out, I don't know, 3-4 months. So certainly, I was hoping coming into camp that Dylan Holloway was going to give it an opportunity to play some preseason games, and if not, go down to the American League, and based upon his college year, be good depth. So our depth up front by losing Holloway was challenged a little bit. So that's why Sevier's here. We signed Perlini. I know that Tip was with Perlini in Arizona a few years ago. He's obviously got a big skill level. He's a big guy, 6'3", can skate. He went to Europe last year, and there's a relationship between the coach and the player. So, I'm anxious to watch preseason games. I think like the fans and like the media is anxious to watch preseason games. I'm anxious to watch this competition play out and see where we're at 3 weeks from now.
And I know you like to be very cautious with the young. Not Roper here on the bubble. He looked great, but that was the bubble. How close do you think he is to push for a spot?
As you say, I'm conservative. I would say, Jason, my attitude with young players is you come in and take somebody's job. Certainly if you've got I use the word the Guidon record book. You look in the Guidon record book, players play in the NHL 5, 6, 7 years, and you can look and, there's analytics, and he's got a resume, and he's played in the league, and if he has a tough camp, there's an expectation that he's going to play at a certain level. With a young player, there is no Guidon record book. They've played good in either Europe, college, or junior. This is pro hockey. Come in and take somebody's job. If a young player, I started out a 19-year-old Dylan Larkin in Detroit, came in and put him on the opening day roster, and other than the 1 year after college when I think he played one playoff series, he played 6 games in the American League. Dylan Larkin never played in the American Hockey League, so I don't do it very often. The better the team is, the deeper the team is, the more difficult it is for young players to make your team. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I think it speaks to depth. I think it speaks to, pushing our young players to year round in the on season and off season to push, get stronger, and eventually take somebody's job. So, it's going to be no different with Philip Broberg. He's got to come in here and take somebody's job. And after 8 preseason games, I'll sit with Dave Tippett and Bill Scott, and we'll go through the cap and the 23-man roster and make the decision as to who's on our 23-man roster. But a young player has to come in and push his way onto the team. It's the NHL. We're in my opinion, we're judged on wins and losses, and I don't put players on the team because they got potential. I put players on the team because they've taken somebody's job and they deserve to be on the team. Now, if you're in a rebuilding mode, I might have a bit of a different philosophy, but we're not in a rebuilding mode. We're in a mode that we're trying to, when you look at the core of the team, you look at the age of the team, you look at the moves that were made. I just talked here about, the defense being more experienced, more a little older on the back end, trying to win. We're trying to be the best team that we can be now, and if Philip Broberg can force his way onto the team, great. If not, he'll go to the American League and he'll play a ton, and we'll get him ready.
Thanks, Ken.
All good? Thank you.
All right, we'll start with questions from here and then move to Zoom, okay?
Mikko, how do you think your season went last year as you left the team at the end of the season? How do you think your season went for you personally last year?
Of course, I wasn't happy how I played last year. That's kind of the number one thing. But overall, we're a team, and we couldn't go as far as we could. So that's the biggest problem for me. But I didn't play well as myself either.
What were you most upset about, mad about, why you didn't play well? Whether it's games or just the way you played overall?
I don't know, it's tough to say. I felt I never found the rhythm. I never found my game last year. I couldn't get the flow going on. So that's definitely something. There was obviously many things, but they're all excuses. So, but you can't look back. You know, it's a new season, new challenge, and I'm ready for that. And
you weren't here, you're back in Europe, but all summer the fans and such wanted a different goaltender than you. Are you upset about that, or do you have to show them and everybody else in your own mind that you're an NHL goaltender and can play, say, half the games?
You know what? It's something what I can't think about, or I'm here to prove myself, especially myself, that I can do this, and I know I can do this, and that's all what I matter. I can't control what's going on, outside of me, and that's how life usually goes. You just control yourself and do your best.
And one last thing, giving up goals early in hockey games, does that make you mad? That's happened often to you.
Yeah, of course, last year a lot of goals came in early, but overall the game is like 60 minutes long, and you're gonna let one goal. It doesn't matter if it's first minute or 59 minutes. It's still one goal, and but like I said, I will improve and hopefully learn something from last year.
Thank you.
Hey, Mikko.
Hey.
I'm just wondering what a veteran goalie does over the summer to get better. Somebody who's been in the game for a long time and is kind of established in his ways. How do you improve over a summer?
Yeah, of course. Never start you never stop learning. You know, this game is getting the standards are going higher and higher, and you have to adapt. And if I would play the same way what I did 10 years ago, I would be already gone. So I think it's really important you try to keep yourself in I don't know how to say that, but you know what I mean? Tough to explain, but of course I research what the other goalies, top goalies are doing in the league, and try to learn from them and keep myself at these days levels.
Do you think that you need to improve physically as a goalie, or is it some mental stuff that you want, confidence-wise, that you want to overcome?
There's a couple technical things what I was doing a lot this summer, and I think overall the goaltending is 50-50, or maybe even more mental stuff than the technical stuff. So it's you have to find the balance between those.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mikko? Okay, thank you, Mikko.
Thank you.
All right, whenever you guys are ready, go
Up
ahead.
on it? Hey, Warren, right here. Ryan Rashog from TSN. In your discussions with, the team, coach, if you've had them, what element of your game do you think they're really looking forward to you bringing to the lineup this year? Which piece of your game do you think they express they really want to take advantage of?
Yeah, I think they just want me to come in and play fast and play tenacious. I know talking with them, they like how I play down low, and that I'm always working and using my speed. So I think for me, just come in here and try to play the same way I did before. And, you know, that's from working hard and like I said, using my speed.
Bob Stauffer, Oilers Radio. Warren, just a thought on maybe what you did to get ready before getting ready for training camp in terms of getting acclimatized here. You know, I know you skated with Connor during the course of the off season, but just a thought process to when you got into town to get yourself in the right place so you're good to go to start.
Yeah, I've been here for about almost 3 weeks, 2 and a bit, and just getting to know the guys and be familiar with the area. And you know, it's been a joy so far. And you know, we've had some good hard skates out there. But for me, coming in early was important just to get to know the guys and be familiar with everything here. And you know, it's been a blast so far.
What sense do you get on kind of the hunger level that some of the guys that have been here for a few years have to, you know, have a little bit more success and to take a run?
Yeah, you know, we play this game because, one, we love it, but two, because we're competitors. And, you know, I get the sense that even in the summer training with Connor and the group of guys there, it was business when we were training. And, you know, our goal is to win the cup. And, you know, that starts officially today. And, you know, I'm excited to bring my competitiveness to the team and you know, go from there.
Hi, Warren. Daniel Nugent-Bowman with The Athletic. Nice to see you. I'm just curious if, you know, you had the chance, obviously, a little bit in the past to play with a guy like Derek Ryan. You might get that chance again. What do you think about the possible dynamic of you two playing together?
Yeah, you know, Doc's a super smart player. My first 2 NHL games, I was lucky to play with him and, you know, score both games with him. So we do have some chemistry, and, you know, he's just such a super smart player and, you know, very skilled as well and dependable. So, you know, if we end up playing together, I don't see a reason why we can't keep succeeding.
I know you said you want to do anything or everything you can to help this team win. Do you have seemingly the ability to kind of move up and down the lineup? Do you sense there's a real opportunity for you here to kind of make a name for yourself?
Yeah, you know, I think I can play anywhere in the lineup. I could be on your first line or be on your fourth line. My last 3 years, I played left wing, right wing. I think last year I played, last 2 years, right. But, you know, I play both left and right. And, you know, like you said, flexible to play anywhere. And, you know, for me, I'm just super competitive and, you know, I just want to win. And, you know, I get the sense here that everyone's really wants to win. And, you know, whatever helps the team, any way I can help is what I want to do.
And do you have your shovel and your snow tires yet?
I do have my snow tires. I do need to get a shovel.
Yeah, right on. Appreciate it.
Warren, over here. Is it difficult as an NHL player when you're playing Carolina? You never play against the Edmonton Oilers. You play them once a year, twice a year. You're not going to a team where you maybe play them half a dozen times and you sort of have a feel like Zach Hyman would last year playing in just the Canadian division.
Yeah, you know, I think I only played against them 4 times because last year we didn't play against each other. But, you know, it's a new team with some new faces. And, you know, for me, it may be a little bit of an adjustment playing in the West and, you know, joining a new system and all things like that. But I'm super excited to be here. You know, the guys all seem really nice and they're hungry. And, you know, I just want to win.
Was there any overlap between you and Connor and Erie? I don't think there was.
No, I didn't play with him in Erie. I played with him in minor hockey. You know, I played with him for a year. His dad was the coach, and we ended up winning. So that part was cool.
How young?
I think that would have been Pee-wee. I think it was, or yeah, Pee-wee.
Were you, like most guys, just get him the puck then? Because could he skate like that in Pee-wee too?
He was one of the best players, but I don't know if you were thinking like that when you're little. You're just trying to, you know, just play the game and have fun. And, you know, we had some success, so that was nice.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Mark.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Better than Zoom.
Zach Hyman, Mark Spector, Sportsnet. Welcome to town. Just, I guess, your thoughts. You come here where, you know, everybody in town says you're going to be Connor McDavid's winger. You're here for, if not the rest of your career, a good chunk of it. What's it like being an Edmonton Oiler for now and for the long future?
No, thanks. Yeah, no, it's very exciting for me. I got here a couple weeks ago, but it feels like I've been an Oiler for a little while now because I got to train with Connor and Darnell and Warren and Devin out in Toronto. So it's been great. It's a great summer, and it's exciting. It's an exciting new chapter of my life and my career, and excited to be an Oiler and to get started here.
Do you have Olympic aspirations, and playing next to Connor McDavid, those aspirations get shaped in any way?
I think everybody has Olympic aspirations. I think that, you know, it would be obviously a huge honor to be selected to Team Canada. I think as a kid, everybody watches the Olympic Games, and especially when the NHL players are there. So for sure. But right now I'm focused on the Oilers and this team and getting settled in and starting my career as an Oiler.
Zach, Jim Matheson from Post Media. Can you talk to playing with Austin Matthews or John Tavares, now perhaps playing with Connor McDavid, as to how they are different sort of players? And you did play quite a few games against Connor, so can you talk to the differences?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to get asked this a lot. The Austin, Connor, you know, Johnny. But obviously in my career, I've been fortunate to play with some really talented players. And what I've learned is that each player is really unique, and they each have a very, very unique skill set. Austin was a lot different than John, and both of them are a lot different than Connor. And I've only played against Connor. I haven't had the chance to play with him in an actual game. We've practiced here in the scrimmages and whatnot, but it's not real hockey yet. And it's going to get real pretty soon. So I'm excited to kind of learn his tendencies and see what it's like to be on his team.
One last question. You came up as a role player grinder type, and now do you shake your head and say, geez, 7-year contract, big money, I've come a long way?
No, I think as a player, you don't look too far ahead. You kind of just are in the moment. So when I started out my career, it was more thinking, you know, how do I stick in the NHL? How can I be an everyday NHL player? And then every year, you know, once you become an everyday NHL player, you're like, how can I get better? How can I continue to progress my game? How can I help the team win? And that's kind of always been my mindset. And now it's, you know, how can I take the next step in my career? How can I help this team get further? How can we win a Stanley Cup? And that's kind of always been my mindset. So it's tough to kind of take myself out of it and look back. And obviously when you do that, it's pretty unique and cool, but for me, it's always kind of being in the moment.
Hi, Zach. Over here, Daniel Newman from The Athletic. I'm just curious, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you, other than your college career, you've lived one place in your entire life. And I'm just wondering what the transition has been like for you to make a new home here.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Toronto, and then I went to school, obviously, at the University of Michigan for 4 years, and then came back home and played in Toronto. So this is the first time in my NHL career that I'm moving teams and going to a new city, and it's definitely exciting for me. I think that early in my career, it was really nice to have my friends and my family at all the games and being there and supporting me, and now I'm excited to be somewhere else where you don't have all the extra, you know, you have people asking you for all these things, or you have, you know, it's always nice when you go to dinner at your parents or in-laws, but here I can really just focus on my young family and focus on hockey and coming to the rink every day and doing and helping this team. So I'm just really excited about the change in lifestyle and the change of hockey teams, obviously.
And I'm somebody myself with a young child. Is it interesting to kind of move somewhere and get, you know, baby's life kind of set up, or young child's life in a new place?
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of moving new stuff. It's a lot of, you know, getting the crib arranged and all and making sure that his daily, his schedule is on, because otherwise it's a nightmare, as I'm sure you know. But he's adjusted really well. My wife's been great, and And I really wanted to be settled in before training camp, and we're settled, and we have our house and everything, and we're ready to roll.
A lot's obviously, and you've already been asked about it, but about playing with Connor. But it just seems like there's the potential for you to kind of allow the coaching staff to have the flexibility and kind of build out the lineup. Do you see yourself as somebody that can kind of be a spark plug for a lot of different lines and kind of create new dynamics for wherever you're able to go in the lineup?
Yeah, for sure. I think last year, if you look at Toronto, I played on, I don't think I had one steady line throughout the year. I played on a number of different lines, and we'll leave that up to, Tip and the coaching staff to kind of figure out where I fit in. But I'll bring the same work ethic and intensity as I do if I'm playing with Connor or Leon or whoever else. So it's just exciting for me to come into this organization. There's so much talent here and so many good players.
Zach, at what point in the process, it's Jack Michaels, by the way, play-by-play for Rogers Sportsnet. I was just wondering, at what point in the process did you kind of mentally turn the page and really come to grips with the fact that maybe Toronto was not going to be your best option? And obviously there's appeal on the Edmonton side, but for you, was there trepidation about leaving, what you had? Because it's not like you were playing with dog meat in Toronto.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think early on in the negotiations with Toronto, I was really focused on Toronto and trying to get something done there. And then once we kind of realized that it wasn't going to work out, I asked for permission to speak to other teams, and that was kind of a little bit of closure for me to say, okay, Toronto's kind of out of the picture. And I told my wife and my agent, we spoke about it, and I didn't want to have Toronto on the back of our mind when we went out to look at other teams, and right away, once we did that, I knew from a hockey standpoint, Edmonton was the perfect fit for me, and from being able to win a Stanley Cup picture, Edmonton was a great situation. I could envision that team winning, and I wanted to go to a team that could win. And then for us, it was my wife's never been to Edmonton, so when you make a decision like that, it's not just a hockey decision, it's a life decision. It's where you're going to spend the next 7 years of your life, and I have a young family, so I really wanted to get her comfortable with the decision, and that's why we took the trip out to Edmonton, and she was able to see the city, and it was her first time out in Edmonton and see where our son would grow up and where our future kids would grow up, and I thought it was really important, and once she was comfortable with that, it was an easy decision.
And then to piggyback a little bit on something that Daniel mentioned, did your experience in Ann Arbor play any factor in this, in the sense that I'm from the East Coast too, and sometimes, anything west of Cleveland, anything west of a certain point, you can't even imagine, but did Ann Arbor kind of factor back in, knowing that, hey, you could have a great time, great experience in places beyond your comfort zone? Oh, for sure. I think definitely. I spent 4 years away from home, and it was comfortable. I have a very supportive family, so they're going to be coming out to visit a ton for home opener. I got a lot of tickets I need to reserve. So, and the beauty about being in Canada is it's all domestic travel, so it's a lot easier. And especially with COVID stuff, it'll be easy for my family to get out here. But yeah, for me, my wife's here, my kid's here, and it's just exciting.
Hi, Zach, over here. Hey. I'm just wondering, you play with Connor McDavid, who's a very different type of player. Do you have to be a bit of a chameleon and adjust the way you play, or is it you do you and it'll all work itself? No,
I think, what I've learned with playing with really good players is that you don't change the way that you play too much. You can learn and adapt to the kind of tendencies that the players you're playing with, and with elite players, what I've learned is that those guys want the puck, and if you can get them the puck, they're going to be pretty happy. So, I think it'll just be about figuring out timing, and he's so fast and unique that just figuring out his timing and where he likes to get the puck and things like that. But as per my game, I think that I'll bring that same level of intensity and competitiveness, and I'm excited to see how it works.
There's a lot of similarities between the Leafs and the Oilers, is they have these young, high-end talents, but they're having trouble breaking through the first round of the playoffs. Do you see those similarities, and how do you see the addition of you and Fogle and those guys helping the Oilers get through that glass ceiling? Yeah, there definitely are parallels for sure. I think just from a hunger standpoint, I think that this young group is hungry to win, and that's kind of the same situation I was coming from in Toronto, where we were coming off a bunch of first round disappointments, and no different than here with the losses
to Chicago and Winnipeg, the group wants to take the next step and is eager to take the next step. So that's why I was also excited to kind of come into a situation that I'm familiar with, where, like I said, I was coming off of those first round exits too. And I think that, I think I'm excited about aside from myself coming here, I'm excited about the other moves and the other acquisitions that Ken made, and it makes for a really exciting group, and I think that we have a really good chance this year.
Ryan Rashog from TSN. Just following up on that a little bit, I was going to ask what you sense from the guys that have been here for a couple of years in terms of their sense of urgency.
Yeah, definitely. I think it starts with Connor, obviously, and his work ethic and drive, and just being able to get to know him a little bit, and same with Darnell. They both bring an elite work ethic and drive every day to the rink, and trying to better themselves in order to better the team. And I've only been with the team now for a couple weeks, but definitely sense the urgency to win, and I think that the group is a really hungry group, and a group that's not satisfied with just making the playoffs.
Right shot, left winger. How does that, shooting that way, playing with a skilled center, how do you capitalize on that in the offensive zone, do you think?
Yeah, no, I played the left side. I play both sides, left side or right side, but I'm comfortable playing the left side. There's benefits to both sides, I find, but on the left side, obviously, picking pucks up the wall, I find is easier, because you can come back into the zone and create space for your centerman. But in the offensive zone, obviously, being a one-timer threat is nice, especially when you have a passer like Connor, if I'm playing with him.
Hi, Zach Slott from Global Edmonton. You had a chance to train with some of the Oilers in the off season. Just being here now, has that made the adjustment coming here and being on the ice with the players a little easier for yourself?
Oh, definitely. It was so important for me. As soon as we made the move to Edmonton and signed the contract, I wanted to get to know the guys who were local in Toronto, and it just makes it such an easier transition, because you already feel like teammates when you're training in the summertime, and there's 5 of us at the gym, which was great. So it definitely made it easier, and then have some familiar faces who I've played with in the past, and Cody Ceci and Tyson Barrie, who are also here. So it's been an easy transition for me so far.
And being with a new team, are you placing more value on training camp than maybe, with a team that you've been with for several years, just in terms of some of the things you talked about in terms of getting adjusted to teammates? Are you placing more value on training camp? Definitely.
I think just, getting to know teammates, getting to know tendencies from a player standpoint, but then also from a coaching standpoint, learning the structure that Tip wants to play with, and learning the special teams and things like that are going to be definitely important for me in this training camp.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Zach, one more question here. Jim Matheson, you were at Michigan. Red Berenson was the coach. Was he a tough love coach?
No, Red was incredible. He's probably one of the most influential people in my career. When you're a 19-year-old kid and you walk on campus and you have this Hall of Fame legend kind of staring at you with a stern face, it's definitely a different feeling. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm never going to be more intimidated than I am right now as a 19-year-old kid with Red Berenson staring at you. And you hear all the stories about how he just has a look on the bench, doesn't have to say much, he just kind of looks at you. And I definitely, in my first couple of years, experienced that look. He, like I said, he was one of the most influential people in my career, and I have a lot of respect for him, and really thankful for him.
Did he tell you when you were playing there and not playing very much the first couple of years you could still be an NHL player?
Yeah, he definitely did. I think he still had kind of belief in me and my ability, but he was somebody. I went to college as a prolific scorer, and he really helped me mold my game into a 200-foot game, and really taught me the defensive side of the game, and how to PK and block shots and all of that stuff. So. He never lost faith in my game throughout, the first couple of years I wasn't really producing, and then my junior and senior year kind of took off on the offensive side.
Hi, Zach, just one more here. When a player signs a big long-term contract with a new organization, I wouldn't say pressure maybe, but a lot of scrutiny. Are you comfortable with the weight of that, or are you able to compartmentalize business and hockey?
Yeah, no, I'm really comfortable with it. You know, for me, I'm somebody who brings the same work ethic and competitiveness every day. You know, since I was a rookie playing my first game to today. So for me, it's just about going out there and playing, and it's something that I love to do. And pressure and expectations come with success, and as you continue to grow and develop as a player and a person, the expectations get higher, no different than as a team. When you continue to have success and grow, then the expectations from a team standpoint get higher. So I'm comfortable and I'm excited.
Zach, we'll take 2 questions from the Zoom. Jason
Okay.
Berger, TSN 1260.
Hey Zach, welcome to Edmonton. Your style of play, you've been, you're very good at forechecking, creating turnovers, everything like that. In 17 and 18, you did miss a game. The last 3 years, I know COVID was part of it. You missed 25 to 28% of games. Was that due to your style of play? Is it freaky injuries? What do you make of the games missed the last few years? Is there anything you can do to lower those numbers?
Yeah, no, I think obviously in 2019 I tore my ACL. It was kind of a freak play and I missed games in that season just from a recovery standpoint. And then after that, when I came back, I played the rest of the year. And then last year I got hit on a knee, which was kind of a fluky one-off, I would say. But no, I'm excited. I keep my body in pretty good shape, and I'm pretty confident in my body and my game, and feeling really good going into camp, feeling really good going into this year, and definitely the goal is always to play the full 82, but you can't account for certain things. It's hockey, and injuries happen.
Last question, Terry Jones, Post Media.
Yep.
Can you go into the idea, it's a new set of eyes here. Can you speak to the anticipation level that you might have, you might see your teammates having out there with all the changes and upgrades that have been made, and also just the idea of getting back and playing in front of fans again?
Yeah, no, I think the team's very excited and very motivated. This year especially, it's obviously my first year here, but just getting to know the guys, I think that there's some solid confidence amongst the group and the players that are here and the players that were brought in. So I think that it's a great group. And then as for fans, I think everybody's just extremely excited to have fans back in the stands. Especially the players that played in the North Division. We didn't have any fans really in the stands the whole year. So for us, it's going to be extremely exciting.
Thank you, Zach.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Good to meet everybody. Appreciate it.
you.